To really understand the amortization formula and what it's doing, we are going to look at an example in depth. We are going to pretend to buy a washing machine and finance the purchase price of $584. Okay. And we're going to calculate our monthly payment, and we're going to look in detail at how the monthly payment pays off both the purchase price of $584 and all the interest that goes with it. Okay, so we are going to build something called an amortization schedule. Okay, under the first bullet point, you can read that an amortization schedule is a complete table of periodic loan payments showing the amount of principal and the amount of interest that comprise each payment until the loan is paid off at the end of its term. Okay, so here is the example we are going to do. Okay, example 1. Suppose you buy a new washing machine from the Home Depot and pay off the $584 purchase price with quarterly payments for 1.5 years at interest rate 17.6% compounded quarterly. Construct the amortization table that models this situation. Okay. When you get older, okay, maybe you'll have a house and then you have to buy all the appliances, and then at some point in time they'll start breaking. Okay, so not long ago my washing machine died and I found myself at Home Depot buying a washing machine, so that's kind of where I came up with this problem. And of course, if you can't afford the appliance out of pocket, you have to finance it. Okay, so this washing machine costs $584. If you choose to finance it, that means you have to pay back the $584 plus any interest that accrues on the unpaid balance. Okay, so here the washing machine costs $584. Okay, you're going to finance it. You're planning to pay it off with quarterly payments at an interest rate of 17.6%, and you're hoping to pay the washing machine off in 1.5 years. Okay, so what we're going to do is first identify all the variables involved in the problem. Okay, so let's go right here. Okay, so in a minute we are going to calculate the quarterly payment, because if you read the problem, you're not making monthly payments, you're making quarterly payments. So we're going to calculate the quarterly payment that you would have to pay off the washing machine, both purchase price and interest. Okay, so before we plug into our amortization formula, and again, you're going to use that because you're paying off a debt, we're going to identify the variables involved in the formula. Okay, so D stands for debt. Okay, when you go out and buy that washing machine, you're immediately in debt, $584. Okay, so the next variable in the formula is going to be M. Okay, M is the number of compoundings per year. It also coincides with how often you're making payments. Okay, so if you read the problem, you're making quarterly payments, and the interest on the unpaid balance is compounded quarterly. Quarterly means 4 times a year, so M is 4. Okay, the time. How long are you going to take to pay off this debt? Okay, the time in years is 1.5. 1.5 years you hope to have this thing paid off. Okay, interest rate as a decimal. Okay, if you read through the problem, it's 17.6%. Okay, you might think that's high. That is pretty standard. Okay, if you're looking at, hardware stores like Home Depot, or if you're looking at furniture stores or even clothing stores, you're going to see very high interest rates like this, or even higher than this. Okay, so that is pretty typical. Okay, so convert this guy to a decimal. It's going to be 0.176. Okay, all right. The next thing we're going to do, okay, is compute the total number of payments you're going to have to make to pay off this washing machine. Okay, All right, so we are making quarterly payments. Okay, so that means 4 payments per year times 1.5 years. Okay, so I always like doing this using units, so I can see that years in the bottom cancels with years in the top, and then I'm just left with payments, number of payments. 4 times 1.5 is going to be 6. Okay, so there's going to be 6 total payments that you are going to have to make in order to pay this washing machine off. Okay, so once we calculate our our quarterly payment, which we're about to do, okay, we are going to map out how the 6 payments work. Okay, how each payment goes towards paying down the $584, the purchase price of the washing machine, as well as paying any interest that has accrued on the unpaid balance. All right, so we've got our variables, we know the number of payments, and now we're going to go ahead and calculate the payment. Okay, remember this is going to be a quarterly payment. Okay, all right, so we know all of our variables. We're going to go ahead and plug it in, and we're solving for what that quarterly payment is going to be. Okay, so just go ahead and plug in all of your variables. Oops. So let's see, it's going to look like this. All right, so all we've got to do now is pop this in the calculator, and that is going to give us our quarterly payment. Okay. All right, when you are working with a formula like this, okay, so this is our first time using the amortization formula. So you are again going to want to start inside the brackets when you are entering this into the calculator. Out of the numerator and the denominator, you want to go with the more complicated of the two and enter that into the calculator first. So that is definitely going to be the denominator. Okay, so we're going to enter that first. Then we'll come back and deal with the numerator. Okay, and then once we have the quantity in brackets, we will multiply by 584. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, so hold on, let me move this. All right, so we are going to do the denominator. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to make sure you can see this. All right, so we're going to have the denominator 1 minus 1 plus 0.176 divided by 4, okay, raised to the negative 4 times 1.5, okay, close parentheses. That's the denominator, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the numerator, okay. I'm going to put the numerator in parentheses, so 0.176 divided by 4, close the parentheses, so that's the top. I want to divide by the denominator. This is the denominator. So I'm going to call up the previous answer by doing second answer or second negative sign. Okay. If you don't like using that feature, you can type in all the digits. You have to carry all the digits. All right. So this is going to give us what's inside the brackets. Okay. And then we need to multiply that quantity by 584. Okay. So we'll do times 584. Okay. This is going to give us our monthly payment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write down all the digits that I got, and then we'll round it. Okay, so just over $112 every quarter. All right, so we need to round it to the nearest cent. Okay, so you've got 85 cents here. Okay, there's a 9 after the 5, and so we need to go ahead and round up. Okay, so our quarterly payment is going to be $112.86. Okay, so now what we're going to do, since we know the quarterly payment, we are going to go and build the amortization schedule. So you can see how the 6 payments of this amount goes towards paying off the $584 purchase price plus all the interest that accrues on the unpaid balance. Okay, so let's go check it out. On